Hey there everybody, Weekly Piano here. So somebody on Reddit just asked me, what are some good scales to play over Dave Brubeck's Take 5? So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a little lesson on that. I'm going to start by, I'll just start by explaining where we are harmonically. We're in E flat minor, really Dorian that's the most common thing played over this, so just that's E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, and E flat. So that's your basic scale that you can use when you're soloing over it. You can just maybe pick a goal note and lead to that goal note. But there are also some other really cool things you can do with this. So something that I sometimes do is I pick a pentatonic scale that fits within the E flat Dorian scale. So let's just say F minor pentatonic. Now if you play that with E in the bass, it sounds a little off, right? Because that's your home bass in F. But you'll notice when you're playing it, it just gives this different sound to it, though it still fits harmonically. Now when we want to move out harmonically, one thing that I'll sometimes do is first pick the minor major scale of the home bass that we're in, so we're in E flat minor. And to make it a minor major scale, you just do the regular minor scale with a major 6 and a major 7. So then it's like, and I'll show this all to you in context in a second. So now when we want to go even further out, so let's take that minor major scale and let's move that. Let's move it to be based off of B, which is the flat 6 of the scale in which we're working with. If you look, if we're in E flat, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flat 6 is there. So if you base it off of that, this is your minor major scale off of B. And I'm working in concert, so if you play a horn, you'll have to transpose here. But the minor major scale for B is B natural, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and B. Now that is a really cool sound over E flat. So you're in E flat, but then you hear. And again, I'll show this to you in context in a second. Sometimes when you really, really want to go out, you can take that scale, that B minor major, and move it in one direction or another. Let's just say a whole step down to A. Now you got A minor major, and it sounds like, what the heck is going on? You know? Now, keep in mind, you have to make musical sense out of this. So any scale that you pick, whether it's in or out, oops, sorry, got a text message. Any scale that you pick, whether it's in or out, will you have to make sure that your phrasing and your musical ideas are solid. So I will, if I'm in any given scale, I'll still be I'll be saying phrases that make sense. You have a question and an answer, like, that's a question, that could be an answer. You could do that in any scale, or whatever. That's for a different video. That's a whole another concept. But just make sure you're using a musical concept in this context. So now I'm going to turn on this little Jamie Aebersold video, audio, and I'll play this for you. and I'll kind of explain it a little bit as I'm going along.
One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3.
So here's the head. I think they're going to the bridge now. Alright, now E flat, Dorian. Now we're going to the bridge. So I'm still in E flat Dorian here. Now I'm going to switch to F pentatonic minor. So now I'm going to switch to let's switch to major E flat major minor. Now give it more of a twist to B major minor. Back to Dorian. My major minor. B major minor. Back to Dorian. Now way out. This audio is going to the bridge anytime soon, so I'm going to stop it there. But I hope that makes some sense. Later in the solo, I ended up going to... Now, mind you, I'm not making so much music out of this. This is more of a technical exercise. I'm showing you these scales. I would be not talking, and I'd be concentrating more on conceptual stuff if I was actually trying to make like a full solo through and through here. But that said, when I went out... I went to, when I said like let's go way out, I went to A major minor, which is A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and held that over the E flat ostinato. You know, and you don't even need to do that. I was doing that in the bass line just to give you a reference to how dissonant it actually is, but if you're playing with a band, you don't need to do that. You can just stay, you know, do maybe some different comping patterns in your left hand with it, but you don't need to do that big E flat. And then I went even further out and went to G major minor. And you'll notice another little conceptual thing, a lot of the time to navigate within these major minor keys, I'm picking one of the main notes of the key. Like if we're in G major minor, I'm picking, say, a G, and oh, I sound dumb now, I can't remember the name, but I'm surrounding it by half steps. So if I go to G, I would play an A flat, G flat, G. Or if I'm going to B flat, I would play a C, B, A, B flat. That's something you'll hear in bebop a lot, but then you can take it into this context, and it's pretty hip. So, one very last thing to know about when you're doing these superimpositions, that's what is called a superimposition, is when you take one scale that doesn't necessarily fit harmonically and you put it on top of another harmony. One thing to remember is the reason that the B major minor is so cool is because it's actually all of the upper extensions, all of the altered upper extensions of B flat. So it's actually the dominant 7, flat 9, sharp 9, 3, which is necessary, flat 5, sharp 5, 13. Well, no, I'm sorry, there's no 13. What am I talking about? If you're thinking of that in relation to B flat, which is the 5 of the 1, which is E flat. So, yeah, at the risk of getting a little complicated, that's the reason that works. Yeah, that's the idea. So hit me up with any other questions, and check out the Reddit page if you haven't already. I've got an Ask Me Anything, so you can ask any questions on there, and I'm making it a point to answer as many of those as possible. Thanks again. This is Weekly Piano. See you later.